Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday the 19th through Saturday the 25th to come. I'm going to get right into it because there's a lot going on this week, beginning with the Christian calendar and the feast day on the 24th of Our Lady of Peace. And then on the 25th, the last day for which this reading is, we have the feast day of the conversion of Saint Paul the Apostle. Mary's feast day is particularly interesting to me. You know, I always point out how these things happen on the same day. I always point out how she's connected to the number 6 and to the number 9. Of course, the 24th equals 6. You always find her feast days falling on these days. But it's also particularly interesting to me because I'm a number weirdo and because I have so many visions and know the scriptures and know the prophecies and I see them all coming together. When I look at some of these things, I asked all of you over the airwaves, you know, whoever watched my video last week, you know, if anybody was interested in helping to figure out some of the things that I, you know, was seeing and had spoken about. And a few of you did. There was one viewer who commented right there. And then just as I suspected, many of you, others of you who decided to participate, you know, chose to DM me instead, which is okay. But, you know, we've talked about a lot of really, really interesting stuff. This weekend is no different. Okay, so get this. You guys that are, you know, into this sort of investigation type thing and putting all these puzzle pieces together, it's June 24th. There's your 2 and your 4. The new moon in Aquarius occurs at 4:42. So there's more of those 2s and 4s. It is 4 degrees Aquarius. So there's another one. 22 latitude. So that's like if you're trying to map it out on a chart. So here's the numbers again, just the numbers by themselves. 2, 4, 4, 4, 2, 4, 2, 2. And what else is interesting is we've been seeing a lot of these things about like end of days type prophecies popping up, either phrases, the verse numbers, or so again, some of the things that we put together, the phoenixes that I was seeing all over the place and that were occurring all over the world, you know, all that type of thing. Well, there's 7.4 billion people on the planet, 7.4 billion. The prophecies say that 2/3 of all inhabitants, so that also includes all people, will go in the last days, will die, will perish, however you want to put it. That leaves 2,442 billion. And Matthew 24:42 is the verse that talks about how God is going to come like when nobody knows, like a thief in the night. So to me, it's all very interesting. I don't know if the 24th is going to be anything interesting, not to suggest that that's necessarily the day that God is coming or that will any of us will ever see that day. That's not what I mean. But I just think that a lot of things are happening and there's definitely a message that we're supposed to figure out, that I'm supposed to figure out, that maybe some of you are supposed to figure out, that maybe some of us are supposed to figure out together. Just giving you some more pieces that I have seen and that I am aware of. Yeah. So I look at these numbers and like I said, I look at the number of total people and, you know, because I'm also a math geek with my math degrees and whatnot, I divide that number, 24:42. Oh yeah, Matthew 24:42. I mean, like that's how my mind works. And some of you have similar traits. So let's think about that one. But getting back to Mary, yes, again, it is her feast day. I just went to www.wikipedia.org this time for her. And it is the feast day of Our Lady of Peace, talking about how I've also pointed out to you that Mary, one of her numbers is 6. Of course, 24 equals 6. And I've also pointed out to you that one of her numbers is 9. And often if you see 6 and 9 together, it has to do with Mary. This is no different. This particular feast day, actually, that we're celebrating on January 24th is also, for some, depending upon what type of Christian one may be, celebrated on July 9th. So there's the 9 for her too. But again, you'll always see her feast days falling on these dates. Sometimes it falls on a 22, on a 13, but 22 and 13 are the same. They equal 4. Master number 22, 11, 11. Same thing, 13, 4, 11, 11. All right, getting back to this particular date, again, wikipedia.org, Our Lady of Peace, or Mother of Peace, Queen of Peace, or Our Lady, Queen of Peace, is the title of the Blessed Virgin Mary in the Roman Catholic Church. She is represented in art holding a dove and an olive branch, symbols of peace. Her official memorial in the general Roman calendar is on July 9th. See? In the Universal Church, except for Hawaii, and some churches in the United States where it is kept on January 24th. Then it goes on here to talk about how it's celebrated in different countries. Patronage. Our Lady of Peace is the patroness of the Congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, that religious order founded by Peter Coudrin in Paris during the French Revolution. When the Congregation of Sacred Heart of Jesus and Mary was established, the Catholic Church in Hawaii, they consecrated the Hawaiian Islands under the protection of Our Lady of Peace. They erected the first Roman Catholic Church in Hawaii to her. Today, the Cathedral of Our Lady of Peace in Honolulu is the oldest Roman Catholic cathedral in the contiguous U.S. There are 3 famous statues of Our Lady of Peace located in Paris and Honolulu. The original is a wooden carving located at a convent of the Congregation of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and Mary in France. A larger replica in bronze was hoisted above the altar and the sanctuary at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Peace, while a third stands on a pedestal outside of the cathedral. The original statue, Our Lady of Peace, was ceremonially crowned on July 9th in 1906 by the Archbishop of Paris in the name of Pope Pius X. Every July 9th since then, the Congregation of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary have celebrated the Feast of Our Lady of Peace. During the troubled years of World War I, Pope Benedict the 15th, which also equals 6, added Our Lady of Peace to the Litany of Loreto, a sacred prayer in liturgy. And it goes on to talk about a few other things there for those who are interested in reading more about it. But I'm going to go on to the 25th, which is the following day, and the feast day of the conversion of St. Paul the Apostle. And for this, I've gone to www.franciscanmedia.org. St. Paul's entire life can be explained in terms of one experience, his meeting with Jesus on the road to Damascus. In an instant, he saw that all the zeal of his dynamic personality was being wasted, like the strength of a boxer swinging wildly. Perhaps he had never seen Jesus, who was only a few years older, but he had acquired a zealot's hatred of all Jesus stood for as he began to harass the church. Entering house after house and dragging out men and women, he handed them over for imprisonment. Acts 8:3. Now he himself was entered, possessed, all his energy harnessed to one goal, being a slave of Christ in the ministry of reconciliation, an instrument to help others to experience the one Savior. One sentence determined his theology, quote, I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting, end quote. Acts 9:5. Jesus was mysteriously identified with people. The loving group of people Saul had been running down like criminals. Jesus, he saw, was the mysterious fulfillment of all he had been blindly pursuing. From then on, his work was to, quote, present everyone perfect in Christ. For this I labor and struggle in accord with the exercise of his power working within me, end quote. Colossians 1:28-29. Quote, for our gospel did not come to you in word alone, but also in power and the Holy Spirit, and with much conviction. Theologians 1:5a. Paul's life became a tireless proclaiming and living out of the messages of the cross. Christians die baptismally to sin and are buried with Christ. They are dead to all that is sinful and unredeemed in the world. They are made into a new creation, already sharing Christ's victory and someday to rise from the dead like him. Through this risen Christ, the Father pours out the Spirit on them, making them completely new. So Paul's great message to the world was, you are saved entirely by God, not by anything you can do. Saving faith is the gift of total, free, personal, and loving commitment to Christ, a commitment that bears fruit in more works than the law could ever contemplate. Paul is undoubtedly hard to understand. His style often reflects the rabbinical style of argument of his day, and often his thought skips on mountaintops while we plod below. but perhaps our problems are accentuated by the fact that so many beautiful jewels have become part of the everyday coin in our Christian language. Does not reference or list of what Paul is a patron. That's the end of it. There is nothing that we need to discuss necessarily on the Jewish calendar or the Muslim calendar. So we'll go on to the planetary calendar, beginning with the first day for this reading is the 19th. So beginning with January 20th, the day that the sun enters the sign of Aquarius. Happy birthday to all the Aquarians out there, the first deacon. January 20th at 9:55 a.m., the sun does indeed enter Aquarius at 0 degrees 00. Very interesting. And then, as I mentioned a few moments ago at the start of this reading, on January 24th at 4:42 p.m., the new moon also enters Aquarius at 4 degrees 22. I will talk a little bit about what my feelings on the new moon, just a couple lines, because I always do a moon reading, so I'm still going to do that. I just think that the new moon is going to be very, very strongly Aquarius and have us making a lot of changes in our lives. New moons in general are about new beginnings, and this one's not going to be any different, but you are going to, this is probably going to shock some of you emotional people, maybe in a way, like this feeling of detachment, but it's going to help you. It's going to help you to distance yourself from bullshit, from bad habits, from the past, from, people, places, and things from which we need to remove ourselves, because it's just, they cause us to, or they enable or encourage, promote, support us exercising like destructive behaviors and patterns. When we hold on to the past, that promotes destructive behaviors and patterns. When we hold on to certain people or places we like to hang out or things we like to do, maybe smoking, drinking, whatever, that is not conducive to us moving forward. So those are the things from which we're going to be able to distance ourselves. We're going to be able to detach, because air signs are all about detachment, and certainly Aquarius, the sign of freedom. So you really got to detach. Like, I got to be up off this, is going to be able to help you do that, right? Freedom and humanitarianism, all about Aquarius. So really not so much necessarily dealing one-on-one with people, maybe more so going it alone and having like these dreams that nobody else has. But they are dreams in terms of forward movement, for all people, like global, big thinking groups, large groups of people. That's what Aquarius is all about. So that's what we'll be doing. A lot of thinking and planning, brainstorming, networking, socializing, and trying to just further the world, not just ourselves, right? Aquarius, air sign energy in general, especially Aquarius and Gemini, not about yourself at all, definitely about larger thinking, larger vision, and all of that. Society, right? Forward, progressive society, thinking outside of the box, certainly, to figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? How are we going to come up with these, make these things happen? The Aquarius is the type of person that can be that one person, that one man on an island, doing it all alone, figuring it out all alone in an unconventional way. So many of us will have that sort of trait, sort of energy over, the course of the next few weeks at least, which I think is super awesome. Some of you may know I am an Aquarius moon, so I'm pretty excited. But I'm excited for everybody, because I just think it's you'll be making some progressive changes in your life, and then the Aquarius energy will enable you to do that. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's get to the dice. This week we begin with Eat Cake. It's for you guys that are celebrating birthdays. For social media, a friend of mine just got engaged, very fast moving relationship. So people like that will be eating cake. Maybe you're celebrating an anniversary or something, whatever you're celebrating. If you're not celebrating, you just like cake, enjoy. Universe says eat cake. Also, massage and no. Spirit says sex. And still eat cake. Sometimes these two can be combined, depending upon what is into. Depending upon what one is into. Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Sometimes these two go together, eating cake and having sex, if you know what I mean. And also, again, no. Going to the cards. We have a card for each element. The first one representing fire, beginning with the sign of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Following Aries is Taurus, so this pile is for the earth signs. Then Gemini, so this pile is for the air signs. And lastly, but not least, water with Cancer. This sign is for the Cancer signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Your card is the Tower in reverse. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Your card is the Ten of Swords in reverse. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Our card is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Your card is the Knight of Swords in reverse. And we all share an overall energy of the Seven of Pentacles. We've planted the seeds and now it's time to reap the rewards. Many of us reaping those rewards this week. Somebody at your job may be mad about it too. Maybe you there was some sort of competition and you were both up for a raise or promotion or some sort of growth or an opportunity maybe to leave or to start your own company. Somebody's mad. There will be some arguments with people at work or potential for arguments or conflict for different people, because all of these cards that I just mentioned have this sort of tone to them as it relates to work, where there's the potential for something to pop off. And then we have the Five of Spring here. Occasionally you may experience clashes with others. If you decide the matter is worth your energy, then do what you can to minimize the conflict without sacrificing your goals or beliefs. That means you can't just walk away from it. You know, if that's at all possible and you're not interested in feeding it at all, walk away from it. Now, for me, the Five of Spring or Five of Wands, which is a representative of the element of fire, often involves a fire sign, even though it's not a core card, and tends to be, if it's not about our own inner conflict, as in one being conflicted, it tends to be about close friends and or family or our work. Because I'm not really getting a sense of family or a feeling of family with these cards for the most part, I think that those of us who do experience conflict in this regard, it's going to be at work. Now, to the more positive, this card also for me can give me like a Mars sort of feel, like a by any means necessary. I'm going after what it is I want, hot pursuit of our passions. And some of us may be doing that. That may be why it's here. And it's paying off. With the Six of Autumn upright right behind this, your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, or to receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time, money, or reputable charities. If it's not at work directly, there could be some other thing, some sort of application process or something, some sort of way where you had to fight to be chosen or to be awarded something. So whether it's a scholarship or it's VA benefits, disability, it's something that you're applying and they can give it to me, or maybe they won't, or they can, reduce the amount or increase the amount, and you are putting in like the effort, you're fighting a battle in that sense where you're having to like go back and forth with this kind of paperwork and stuff. And again, it's paying off. Here's another Nine of Pentacles. It is upside down, so normally I wouldn't mention it, but because we had a Nine of Pentacles right here, I am going to mention the one that is right here also. Nine of Autumn. Your success has brought you financial security and the reward of much deserved time off to enjoy your own company. You may suddenly have a brilliant idea for a business or self-employment opportunity that will be very successful. And it's sitting here atop the Ace of Swords, which is all about a new beginning as well. Maybe one that was difficult getting to. We experienced a lot of challenges on the way, but we're here, right? In this place and this space of new. So that's very positive. Again, Nine of Pentacles Also about the need to, nurture yourself. In the dice, we started out with massage for, with one of the dice. We started out and ended up with eat cake. That could be a way of nurturing yourself too. Treat yourself, as it says. Allow yourself a treat, maybe in a literal sense, like cake. Sex can also be very nurturing, very interesting, very self-interesting. And that's what we should be doing, giving ourselves some self-love, some self-interest. The Six of Autumn, not only about grants or scholarships or things, but definitely it can be, again, about those things. And where it is, it's often like abundance or assistance that's kind of like just coming out from, the sky. Like one day, this application, nobody cares, nobody's going to read it, nobody's, trying to help us. And all of a sudden, some sort of assistance or help comes in and turns everything around. It's a card of unconditional love for me. And so in terms of relationships and things, whether they're friendships, romantic relationships, familiar relationships, or even with strangers, it is about the ability to both give and receive without agenda. We're either giving or we're receiving, or both, simply because, right? Simply because love, not because we want something, not because we're scheming or whatever. So it's one of my favorite cards actually in the deck. So, for example, in terms of this being about hot passion and pursuit, we could be pursuing unconditional love. We can be pursuing some sort of partnership where we have this reciprocal energy of give and take and flow and exchange. That could be what we're fighting. Maybe with some sort of soulmate connection or something. Eternal flame. Of course, this card also has a fire energy for me. And it often is about these very deep soul connections, whether, again, they're with friends, they're with family members, or they're a romantic sense. Or this could be about our life's passion, right? Our life's work, what it is we really want to fight to do at work. We're going to, compete and beat out anybody we need to get to that spot, that career, that desk, that seat, at the head of that company that we want to be at. May involve the need to attend some workshops and or seminars. Attending and giving speeches is part of your spiritual path and purpose. Be open to teaching and learning. So this card has a very Hierophant feel to it for me, as well as the Hermit. The Hierophant represents the earth sign of Taurus, and the Hermit represents the earth sign of Virgo. So this is very earth sign. Sometimes we are both the teacher and the student. It's about going in and learning more about ourselves. Right behind it is twin flame. So that could definitely be the case right now. You may need to be learning, to understand some feelings that you're feeling, or some experience that you've had, challenges, dark night of the soul, all that kind of stuff. And some of you have been watching or listening or the wrong people, right? There's a bunch of people on the internet, for example, on YouTube, for sure, that are talking about things like ascension and twin flames and all kinds of spiritual stuff that they have no idea what they're talking about. They have no divine partner themselves. they never have. They just read about something and it sounded good and they figure they jump on a bandwagon and they're talking to you. So now they're a witch or something like that. A lot of people have been watching or otherwise somehow interacting with the wrong people in that regard. And this week that's going to stop too, right? There's going to be some sort of something that comes out that will alert you, some sort of news, information that comes out, page of air, all about news, information being brought to you. A Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes may tell it like it is. I'm doing it right now. I'm both a Gemini and an Aquarius, by the way. So this could be me, but I think it's going to be another energy and or person who would at least supplement what I'm saying. You're going to get some sort of awakening, epiphany, alert, actual information that's going to be like, whoa, that person had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. Maybe somebody will come toppling down one of these people. Maybe somebody will have to like shut down their channel, or they'll be exposed somehow. There's some sort of information that comes out about and maybe it's not a channel at all. Maybe it's in your own personal life. Something goes down at the church, the local church or synagogue or whatever. Challenging information, right? Delays or changes to plans and truth delivered without tact. So something is just like, boom, here it is. And again, for some, it is about things like divine unions, sacred unions, and relationships. You've just been getting misinformation, and it's time to get the correct information. So that could be why, again, the workshops and seminar card is coming up. It's time to get the correct information. Time to maybe take back control over your life, because maybe you were giving it over to something or someone that wasn't conducive to your growth. Major Arcana card, for the Emperor, represents the planet Mars. Remember, I was saying sometimes this card can be all about Mars for me and pursuing some sort of passion. Mars, the ruler of the signs of Aries and Scorpio. Organizations and logic, right? Organizations, something goes on with the organization. Maybe you have to find one where you fit in, where you can grow, or something happens to, knock down some sort of group or whatever. Structure and discipline, leadership. You could be, again, taking charge of something, including your own life. The Emperor also sometimes, for me, representative of a very masculine energy, often an actual male, a father, or a married man, a divorcee, a widower. Could be like somebody older, middle-aged, the marrying kind, I like to say. Maybe somebody specific in your life. Somebody could also be hearing something or learning something, right? This could be a teacher or a student. You could be learning something about maybe, again, a soulmate connection, a twin flame, divine union, that prompts them to maybe go after that person or to confront that person in some kind of way. But again, there's some real tie here, eternal flame that has not been put out, even if they've been separated. So maybe that's why you have to hear information, because you're not actually in contact with the person yourself, but you hear something, you get some sort of information, you learn something, and that moves you to take some sort of action. All right, fire signs. When the Tower in reverse shows up, it can mean that, first of all, it's not nearly as intense as when it's upright, good or bad. Because for me, the Tower is a neutral energy. It can be good. It can be a little bit more challenging and difficult. I won't even say bad. And because even in those times when it is challenging and difficult, there's always something sudden that comes in and unexpected. And sometimes that's hard to deal with. But ultimately, it's something that leads to positivity in our lives. So it's, think Lord Shiva the Destroyer comes in, knocks everything down, only to rebuild it far more fabulous. So that's what the Tower is. It can be about epiphanies. It can be about coming into, again, unexpected information or news, just something that sort of overwhelms you, knocks you off your feet. So again, whether it's positive, whether it's good, you're knocking me off my feet because I never expected, to be surprised so greatly or to receive such assistance from the universe or from another human being or whatever. So I'm overwhelmed because of that. Or I'm overwhelmed because, again, something's happening at my job, the company's going out of business, the building caught on fire, whatever the case is, right? So some kind of change or news is coming. And with it in reverse like this, it's telling you, you got to be prepared to just roll with the energy, roll with the punches. Just let it happen. Like lay back and let it happen. You ever heard that saying? That's what you guys got to do. It will not benefit you to try to hold on to old energy, whatever, is going on, to try to hold on to the old aspects of yourself or a situation. Just go with it and you'll be far happier that you did. It's going to work out fine that way. Also, when it shows up, it can be about some sort of people, places, or things, like I talked about before, that you expected to just be there, to be in place, right? Everything to be fine. Like you're finding either they're not there at all, or they're not there with quite the same intensity and or in quite the same way. And it's just really important that you, again, just roll with the punches. Don't overthink it. Just let it happen. In terms of work, there could be people around you who are stressing you out, or who themselves are stressed and are stressed out. And maybe that's like sort of spilling over into everybody else. And so arguments are happening, misunderstandings are happening, things are popping off. You, just like this card suggests, if you have the potential to avoid the situation and you wish to, like you don't want to feed it any energy, then, you know, take that opportunity to not, and walk away if you can. Don't try not to let your ego like take over, because it may win with the Tower in reverse, and you may get yourself into something that's really completely unnecessary. And again, if you're talking about work, it can be in your best interest maybe to think before you speak, look before you leap, all that kind of stuff, or end up in a negative situation. In terms of your finances specifically, it's just not a time for anything too risky. You know, if you want to buy a scratch off or Powerball or whatever, you can do stuff like that. Don't, you know, gamble like anything high stakes, especially if you have a gambling problem and you know if you do or not. Of course, you can always invest, but, you know, like in stocks and bonds and stuff, but not any overly aggressive ones. It's not recommended. Of course, you know, grown people can do whatever the hell they want, but it's not recommended when the Tower's in reverse that you do anything too risky. But otherwise, you know, it's not like a dire situation. It's, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Just don't do anything crazy this week. And any problems that come up, any challenges that come up, any misunderstandings or confusions as it relates to finances, just handle them, you know, in the time that they show up, like in a very honest and straightforward manner. And again, you're going to be all right. If you need help figuring things out, then don't hesitate to ask. You know, maybe you have a friend that's a math geek like myself, or bookkeeper, right? Like myself in my former life, some sort of accountant like myself in my former life, and they can help you with that. Oops, put your tower upright. Nope. It's a tower in reverse. In terms of health, you know, again, it's going to be like avoiding mishaps. Just being careful. You know, it's one of those times where people could have mishaps when the Tower is in reverse. So like when you're driving, I don't know, what else do we do that's potentially dangerous? I guess just about anything is. So don't be paranoid, obviously. How do I describe this? Just be aware of your surroundings, because people could get hurt and, like, you know, people could have little mishaps with the Tower in reverse in terms of health. Spiritually, again, you might be coming into different kinds of new awarenesses, new consciousness, new ideas, new ideologies. Maybe you heard something, you learned something, you had to get rid of some sort of bullshit ideology or false system that was really oppressing you. You're realizing that it was a system of oppression. You're getting out of that. You need freedom. This is the energy of Aquarius. And so maybe you're going to workshops and seminars to hear something new, a new message. Or maybe you're going to cease to go to somebody's workshop or seminar because you've decided it's bullshit now. Those kind of things with the Tower. But again, I think some of you are definitely wanting to understand more about ascended relationships, and you're realizing you've been getting the information from the wrong place. So a lot of you, it has to do with some sort of romantic relationship. The answer to your question involves a spiritually based romantic relationship. Speaking of spiritually based romantic relationship, did I talk about love? I don't think I talked about love for you guys. I apologize. So if you're in a committed relationship already, you can be learning realizing, admitting that, there's some difficulties, there's some problems there. And there's some things that if you want to keep the relationship, it could use some work, right? It could stand for you to plant some seeds. If there is, conflict and problems, and you want to instead, share a mutually reciprocal energy with one another, you're going to have to put that kind of effort into it so that it happens. Check yourself. What have I been giving? Has it been 50-50? Have I been, doing my best to maintain and nourish and, sustain this relationship? And if not, then maybe you want to make some changes. Don't try to change your partner. You want to get with them. You want to communicate and fix it together. If you're interested, again, in saving it. If you're disinterested, then the right thing to do is to take back control of your life and get yourself out of that situation. Maybe because you want to leave one situation and go and pursue another. Happens a lot with twin flame relationships. People are often married even. If you're single and looking, this might not be the best week. That's all I'm going to say about that. There's probably not too many people banging down the door this week, and you may not even be interested in, looking yourself. Moving on to the earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Again, your card is the Ten of Swords in reverse. In a general sense, this card can mean that you finally reached like a new perspective. New perspective in your life. You have new views, new thoughts and feelings about your circumstances and who you are. You trust yourself more, taking it one day at a time, one step at a time. Some of you literally may have gotten out of some sort of, again, addictive behavior. And you know how people say, I'm taking it one day at a time. I just quit drinking. I'm taking it one day at a time. I just stopped doing drugs. I've taken it one day at a time. I just stopped smoking, whatever the case is. And so it's very much this page of air energy that you're experiencing. Again, this is the energy of Aquarius that's coming in to help you. So you may have just finally reached this place in your life where you're, there's clarity, right? There's clarity, page of air, page of swords, bringing you clarity and just a more balanced perspective to your life. You may have recently come out of a very difficult time, and or maybe at the beginning of the week, this week, you are coming out of a difficult time, but I think you'll be out of it by the end of the week. Or at least you'll be coming to the realization, the clarity that the worst is over, and that, you can really come up with some solutions and plans to move forward, improve your own situation. It's just a positive thing. In terms of work, again, there can be some problems at the workplace, and doesn't have to be like the end of the job, not necessarily getting fired or going to be moved to quit or anything, but there could be bullshit going on. And you may have reached a point where you're seeing clearer, you're thinking clearer, you have clarity, and you may want to start thinking about what you want to do. What's your next move? Staying at the job, leaving the job, starting your own business. There's so many different, possibilities. Asking for a transfer, moving into a new department, learning something new, right? Maybe becoming an apprentice or something. All of these different options, you will figure out what's right for you. But it's going to require you to do some, to rethink some things. And again, that's the Aquarius energy that I was talking about in the beginning. In terms of love, you may have recently already begun to take some steps to improving an existing relationship if you had one. And of course, that's positive. But more work is probably going to be needed. More effort, more seeds need to be planted, and more nurturing needs to be given to this relationship. And it's going to take two, right? So you can't do it by yourself. Make sure that it's something that the other party, again, it's reciprocal. And if you're not feeling that it's reciprocal, then again, you may need to rethink and decide whether or not you want to continue. If there is fault or blame to go around, and it's never like one person's. I always say we always have some sort of responsibility in any and every situation that we can take. Even if my responsibility is greater than yours or more minuscule than yours. We always have some sort of responsibility in a situation that we should be able to take, and especially in relationships. And if you're in a relationship with somebody who's not willing to do that with you, they want to place all the blame on you, and then there's an inability to forgive and stuff, then you have to decide, again, you have to rethink for yourself if you want to keep feeding that energy or not. So that's choice. If you're single and looking for love, you could be thinking and feeling. I don't know why I picked up the Page of Swords. You could, maybe because it's the Ten of Swords. Maybe it involves a Page of Swords, a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. There's a lot of air energy here, actually. This Ten of Swords actually sits above the Knight of Swords and crossing the Wheel of Fortune, which could be connected to the sign of Aquarius. So maybe that's why. You're dealing with an air sign, or you yourself are an air sign, or very heavily air, or the energy that's surrounding us is impacting you quite a deal. All of these things are possible. Maybe specifically you're a Taurus, right? Aquarius is ruler. Uranus is where your sign is currently located in your sign, actually. I didn't finish my sentence about the single people, though. Yeah, so you might not be as ready for a long-term commitment or a relationship as you had thought, or proclaiming yourself to be. And for some of you, it could have to do with other people, like you're trying to live up to society's expectations. Like you're 35 and you're female, and they say, "Girl, what are you doing still single? When are you gonna find a man? When are you gonna have a baby? When are you gonna?" Don't try to avoid feeding into anything like that. And I guess it happens with men too. I want grandchildren. You know how the mothers are. When are you going to find a nice young girl to to settle down with, or whatever? Don't let any of that kind of stuff sort of force your hand. You have control of you. You make decisions for you. You do what you want to do. And maybe you have your sights set on somebody in particular, or your heart and your soul have their sights set on somebody in particular, because it is a twin flame connection, a relationship, and society or other people around you have somebody or something else in mind for you. Don't let that force your hand either. In terms of spirituality, you may have recently overcome some aspects of your past, maybe some sort of funky religion or some shit that you were into. Maybe somebody forced your hand then. A lot of us, our parents made us go to a particular church and be part of a particular religion, and maybe you are shedding those things now. And it's just time to look forward to this like new path and new experiences that you're going to be having in your life. Look ahead. All that negative shit is falling away. Right. So better times ahead. Again, the worst is behind you. In terms of your health, if you're thinking about taking some sort of steps to improve a health situation, get to it. Don't just keep thinking about it. It's time to put some action into that, and just always remember that you deserve to improve. You deserve to grow. You deserve to be better. And it's not something to just keep dreaming about. Actually do it, whether it's gaining weight, losing weight, just eating better for other reasons, or eating more, eating less, exercising more, exercising less. Maybe we're doing too much and we're not having a social life. There's all different aspects to health, right? So whatever it is you're seeing for yourself, again, don't just dream about it, put it into action. And let's go to the air signs. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. We got the only major arcana card here. It is, again, the Wheel of Fortune reverse. And so I tend to feel that this is energy that we can't avoid showing up in our life. If we watch a reading or have, perform our own reading, or just have some sort of intuitive feelings about what kind of energy is coming up, we can avoid certain things. We can avoid Five of Wands, but I don't feel that we can avoid Wheel of Fortune. I think Wheel of Fortune is a karmic energy, karmic as in of the universe, not karmic as in a derogatory term, or what has become a derogatory term about a mate, a certain type of soulmate. So I think because it's of the universe, there's just certain things that we have free will, but it's to an extent certain things we have over which we have no control, right? These sort of tower things. Oh, we didn't get the only major arcana card. I'm sorry. The fire signs got one too. which would mean I personally got both because I'm a Leo rising and an Aquarius moon and a Gemini sun. Very interesting. Anyway, so yeah, this energy that we sort of can't escape, but we are always responsible and in control of our actions and our reactions. So we can't be in control of what's going on in the universe, what's happening around us, but our actions and our reactions. So how we react to whatever that is. In terms of love, I don't know why I'm going to love first, but I am. If you've been, again, in a long-term relationship, with the Wheel of Fortune being in reverse, less than if it was upright, you may be feeling that that relationship is no longer for you. You may be feeling that way. This could be just a moment. So before you go ahead and break up with your girl, or break up with your man, or whatever it is, make sure you think about it. Make sure you, have really decided and are going to communicate to them in a real way what you're feeling. Don't ghost. Let's be mature about stuff like this. And don't just break up with somebody because you had a feeling one day. Make sure that that's really what you want. And similarly, for those of us who are single, we need to make sure we know what we want. Let's first of all, like when the Wheel of Fortune in reverse shows up, it's kind of like, where am I? Like, who am I and where am I? Like, and what am I? And then after we figure that out, then it's like, okay, and who and what and where do I want? We have to sort of have an idea or image. And then we got to put ourselves in a place where we can find that person or, that energy, that opportunity. And so with the energy of Aquarius in particular, that may be like large groups, or that may be like the internet. Some friends may hook us up, tell her and she may tell them, and then we may end up in a place. But yeah, after you figure out what you want, how you want it, then you're going to need to make yourself available, put yourself out there. Wheel of Fortune represents the planet Jupiter, ruler of the sign of Sagittarius. So that could be the fire energy that's around you, if any. Also connected again to the fixed signs. So that would be Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Again, there's a lot of air energy on the table, so very, very possible that a bunch of us dealing with air signs or ourselves air signs or have some very heavy air in our chart. Actually, I'm just seeing like mostly air and fire on the table, to be honest with you, because the tower for me feels very fiery, I know I say the same thing about the world. It feels like fire. The tower feels like fire too, but it also feels kind of like death to me. Which death represents the planet Pluto in the sign of Scorpio in the tower, in the tarot rather. Scorpio, however, also ruled by Mars, not just Pluto. So it is in a way fire too, right? Or its ruler is fire. Anyway, getting back to us, the air signs, in terms of finances, this is a good omen, especially if you experiencing challenges prior with crossing this 10 of Swords and sitting underneath the tower. You definitely could have been experiencing challenges prior, air signs, and now a reversal of fortune. That's what the Wheel of Fortune is about, a reversal of fortune. Now, for some of us, we may have been having a good run financially, and maybe this week will be a little downturn for us, okay? But for the most part, and for most people, it is when it turns around, it's turning around for the better, for the more positive, and all of a sudden there will be an increase in your finances if you've been experiencing difficult times, and things like improving going out into the future too. What didn't I do? Health? Did I do health? You just want to keep your stress level down for the most part when this shows up. Your health is probably okay, but be careful about popping off, okay? Because what does a high stress level do? Well, it promotes funky hormones into our stomach, like cortisol. And next thing you know, you're walking around with a big belly, because somebody did something to you. So you're like a double victim, or your blood pressure goes up, now you're at risk. So yeah, You're at risk for heart. This heart just jumped out at me. Yeah, so definitely be careful, air signs, with that, with your stress levels. And if you are on some sort of medication, like heart medication or high blood pressure or whatever, take it. Don't forget to take it, please. Yeah. Also, as I told the fire signs, so maybe this is, again, a stronger message for those of us who are both air and fire, or, an air sign dealing with a fire sign or vice versa, like cross-watching. A change is coming in. This is a change that is coming in that we cannot stop, that is of the universe, that is destined, that is, again, a karmic energy represented by the major arcana. And you know what? It's good, though, right? Change is good. It is for the best. Again, in most cases, this is going to be a positive change, a much needed change. And even with that, sometimes change can be difficult and even traumatic. Like if you decide to leave your job, for example, because that can be with the Wheel of Fortune. Most won't, but some can be deciding I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to move on to something else. And even that can be like challenging because, if you really love the people that you work with and you've been working there so long, and, what if I don't really like this new place? What if I really don't like this new career path? So it can be difficult to make the transition. But again, at the end of the day, it is something that is positive. Lean on your support system, your, friends, your family, your romantic partners, and trust yourself, right? That you can be a leader, that you've got it in you to be a boss. Go for it. In whatever it is, it's not necessarily work. I just use that as an example. But again, this is about some sort of change coming in, probably very, very quickly. Both of these have a fast energy. The Wheel of Fortune is all of a sudden fortune, right? Sudden good fortune, sudden positive energy coming in. And the Tower is a very, very abrupt too. So, that's what we can expect. And it's sitting here next to the Knight of Swords, which is another very, very fast energy. And that one for the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. In general, you may have some traveling that you're about to be doing, and it could take longer than you had expected. Something could be up with your trip, or maybe you've been trying to get away and you have not been able. I have a friend that's been stuck in Louisiana because she hurt her neck while she's out there. And so she should have been home, and now she's probably not going to come home until like February. But the Page of Swords is also about that, right? Challenging information, delays, or changes to plans. Same thing with the Knight. So for you, Knight of Swords in reverse, definitely some sort of plans you had, or some sort of something not going off with a hitch, especially if it involved travel. In terms of work, absolutely. Again, there's a coworker that you may have to watch out for. They could really be trying to take credit for your work. Competition. Really be trying to take credit for your work. Make sure that you have records, you have your emails, some sort of paper trail, you got made a photocopy, you left a voicemail, you got people that are back you up, whatever it is, however your job works. Make sure that you have some sort of records or trail to prove that you've been doing things the correct way. Somebody also may be trying to may try to blame you for some sort of problem that isn't your fault. And you're going to want to make sure that you stand up and protect yourself. And it may be a good time for you to do your resume and things too, brush it up, because you may be deciding, similarly to the people here on the air signs, that it's time for you to look for a new job or to leave your job. I'm not saying you're going to necessarily do it, but you may just want to start getting things in order or have it ready just in case you ever decide, listen, I've had enough of this. It's just a positive time for you to do that. Not necessarily to actively seek work, but to have, these things set up. Resume is intact. If anybody asks me for it, I can just hit send and send it to them. I don't have to first start trying to type it up or something like that. In terms of love, if you're looking for love, there could be something right in front of you, and you're not opening your eyes up. So you got to be more open to meeting possible partners. There could be somebody around you or somebody that comes in this week who maybe tries too hard, and you probably don't like that. I know I don't like that. And maybe that this is representing like my energy here, or my energy as an air sign. I mean, it's the Knight of Swords in reverse. We don't like that. We don't like people who are too showy. And I was just talking to my friend earlier today, actually, about a guy. I said he needs to get the fuck over himself. We don't like that kind of stuff. But maybe if the Knight of Swords in reverse showed up for me, then I would say, "Ooh, let me ease up a little bit. Maybe I'm going a little too hard," because it can mean that just because somebody comes off like they're trying overly hard to impress you when you first meet them, doesn't mean that they're an ass or a loser. Okay, give them a chance. If you at all feel, inclined to do so. And who knows? Maybe even twin flame. It's funny, but the twin flame relationships, the divine unions, we do tend to have some sort of stark differences and clashes, even differences in personality, in look, in age, in race, in spirituality and or religion. There's always some sort of stark differences that we have a potential to really clash, or to give each other to make a bad first impression upon each other. But at the end of the day, that's your husband or that's your wife out there. You know what I mean? So again, if you feel anything at all, if you're at all inclined to give them a chance, go ahead and give them a chance. And let's get to the other cards. Actually, I just looked up at the clock and the timer clock on the camera, and this reading at that point where I had said let's look at the other cards was exactly 5, 5, 5, 5. I just think I'm supposed to stop, so I'm going to do the advice instead. And you know what, it's okay, because I'm still going to do the love reading and the moon reading, so we'll have plenty of opportunity for additional spreads to see what else is up. Plus, I think I've talked quite a bit about the cards that are up here, and that's probably why it's so late already. So let's just see what they got for us. Ooh, okay, I got to show you guys something too. Okay, I got to show you something else. So picking up these cards, guess what just fell out? Major Arcana card 17, the Star. Oh, I got to post something on Facebook too. I'm so random and Knight of Swords today. Yeah, so what I got to have to post on Facebook is that earlier when I was cooking, all of a sudden I was like made to go look at my phone. This was really random because I'm like with my head in the oven and it's like, oh, where's my phone? And it was 8:08, and my phone had 62% battery, which also equals 8. It's the 17th, which also equals 8. I forgot what else. It was just like 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. And so now I just thought about that here too with Major Arcana card 17. Maybe the 8 is significant for someone other than me. 8s are about abundance. 8s in supreme math mean build, destroy. Again, I think Lord Shiva, but also what it actually means in supreme math, or what build, destroy is about, is if you are not building, meaning if you are not contributing, if you're not helping, like the rest of us, if you're not with us, you're against us. If you're not helping, you're hurting. If you are not building, you are destroying. So that could be a message for somebody. But the tarot card, the Star, again, represents the sign of Aquarius and the planet Uranus, which is Aquarius's ruler. Which is currently located in Taurus, and is about the Star is about communication. It is also about prayers being answered, dreams coming true, wishes being granted. So I think this is for all of us, because I went to pick up the cards and this one fell behind, stayed behind. You're about to take a big leap of faith with your life. Worry will be replaced with optimism, fear with hope, and joy is coming home to roost. So I'll just put this here again for everyone. And the other thing that happened was when I was moving these, the Two of Water was revealed. The Two of Cups. A relationship that continues to grow closer. Forgiveness and the positive resolution of a conflict. So from the Universal Love Oracle, to the masculine, expectancy. So expectancy is about us, I call it blocking our own blessings, really. It's like putting too much specificity and emphasis, like, and exactly, I want exactly this from the universe. I want exactly this thing and exactly this way and exactly this amount. And so by doing that, because our imaginations are not vast enough to conceive what the universe is even capable of giving us, we limit the universe when we do that. And so in that way, we block our blessings. So that's the warning to the masculine, to not do that. There's no need to over specify to the universe what it is you want. When you pray, just ask for, blessings. You can ask for financial blessings. You can ask for love blessings. You can ask for both. But you don't have to say, send me exactly $10, because that's what you potentially will get. Or if the universe wants to send you $20, now you get nothing, because it can't send you what it wants, and you're specifying something else. Feminine, dreams. Very Piscean for me, this card. We could be receiving messages, whether awake or asleep, in dreams. So daydreams or asleep. This is also about any dreams, as in fantasies, ideas, goals, actually putting some action behind some of them and making them come true, manifesting your dreams, having them happen for you. That could be connected to this energy of the star. Again, dreams coming true, wishes being granted, prayers being answered. From the Angel Tarot to the masculine, the Six of Fire, victory, good news, it's on its way, public recognition or awards. This card is a card of winners and winning, being successful in whatever it is you have going on. It could be any area or aspect of your life, but it may actually be like your name being called, ringing bells, you're getting some sort of award or certificate or something. That's going to be recognition. Or if people were talking about you in one way, let's say a negative way, and there's gossip, then that turns around and people are talking about you, or your name has to come up again in a positive sense. Somebody was trying to blame you for something, again, perhaps at work, or take credit for your work. No, it has to come out that that's your work, right? That you are who did this. You are who's the successful one, Feminine, from the Angel Tarot, the Two of Earth. Too much going on at once. There's a need to make a decision. Consider a more playful approach. So we may not be nurturing enough. We may be imbalanced. Perhaps we're working too much, working too many hours, working too many days, working too many jobs, working, in the home too much, not being social. It's time to get out. Like some area of your life is in balance. You may actually have a decision that you need to make too when the Two of Pentacles shows up. And also for me, the Two of Pentacles can be about what I call deja vu from hell. Just feeling like you're in the same spot over and over. You keep ending up in the same scenario and whatever. And until you make a different choice, because you're in charge of your actions and you're in charge of your reactions. So until you make a different choice, you have the potential for that to keep happening to you over and over again. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. It does not happen. From the Animal Tarot to the masculine, the Four of Autumn, Four of Pentacles. Be cautious about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms. Consider, for example, whether you're spending too much versus hoarding your wealth, or giving too much emotionally versus building up walls that keep people out. Well, there's that building again, right? Building, destroying. Also for some, the tower for me can be about an actual tower, like a home or something. For some of us, this can be about something very suddenly happening with your home. Not in a negative way. Maybe something turns around in a positive way. Maybe you all of a sudden move, decide to cohabitate, leave the home where you are with the family or friends or romantic partner. Something could be happening with the actual home. And maybe I'm saying that or picking that up because of the Four of Autumn. Because for me, yes, it can be about those things I just read about. And people will say, oh, the Four of Autumn, it's about not holding on to something, so tightly. You need to let go of something. Or maybe you're holding on to a person, place, or thing too tightly, or somebody's doing that to you, you feel stifled. Absolutely, those can all be the things. But for me, it goes a little bit further than that. And it's like this, it's the kind of energy of when you have a job and you hate it. but you get a paycheck. But that's why you keep going to this job, but you really don't like it. You don't like the people. They don't like you. You don't like the place. You hate getting up there. You don't want to go. You can't stand it. But again, get a paycheck. Sometimes we do the same thing with relationships, with friendships, and certainly with romantic relationships. I want out. I don't like this relationship. I'm not in love anymore. This friendship hasn't been balanced or healthy or whatever, positive in a long time. This marriage has been going nowhere fast for a long time, but we split the bills, but we split the kids, but, and so we make these excuses or reasons, right, as to why we have to remain miserable in relationships, and we don't. Same way you can get out of that job because there's other places from where you can get a paycheck. You can get a paycheck from somewhere where you actually are happy, where you're actually doing some work that you love or something about what you're passionate. Same thing can happen in a relationship. You can, yes, find somebody to split the bills and split the kids and all that kind of stuff with you in a healthy relationship too. You don't have to stay in a negative one. So masculine, if you're dealing with any of those kind of things that I described, you may want to consider getting out. Feminine, we too may want to consider getting out of something. The Eight of Winter signifies that we feel trapped. It's so easy to convince yourself that you're trapped when you really aren't. Trust that God will lift you to new heights and give you a greater sense of self-confidence if you first affirm your freedom. From the Animal Tarot to the masculine, Major Arcana card 11, Strength, which represents the sign of Leo. Great inner strength. Release harsh judgments. That means the blame, the guilt. Let go of all that kind of stuff. The inability to forgive. Let it all go. Any negative emotions, all that kind of things. Forgiveness and compassion instead, what you want to try to exercise. When Major Arcana card Strength shows up, it's an awesome card. It means you have the strength, the wherewithal, the ability to face any and all challenges that come your way in this period. In love, it is a positive card. It means balanced relationships. It means mutual understanding and support. In your finances, it means improvement. It means, the ability to spend and to feel comfortable, right? That you're not being choked. You're not struggling. You're able to do things. Spiritually, it's about ascension. It's about raising up that element of fire that's burning in your belly and sending you to new heights. It's just a positive card in every single place that it shows up. And it may involve an actual Leo or other fire sign. May be significant in your life. Feminine, for us, it is another star. Major Arcana card 17. Happy times. Make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You are on the right path. So we got our second star. So feminine, for us, this is really meaning that we are manifesting, especially if you can let go of this kind of energy where you're feeling stuck and trapped. Things are, dreams of ours are coming true. We're able to put some things in motion, put some action behind some of those dreams and really, get some things going that we've been wanting to do. Certain things are just happening for us without us having to do anything. Assistance is coming in, help is coming in, and the increase is coming in, abundance, money, whatever the help that we need is. It can just be meeting the right person or, being at the right place at the right time. All those kind of things are happening. Also, again, this is about communication. It can be us who is initiating communication. It can be us who is being open for a change, maybe to receiving communication. That communication may be online or, connected to online dating or some other sort of technology, Skype or FaceTime or sending pictures back and forth, with someone of interest to you. But it's a very, very positive card. It's a very healing energy. And we got a lot of it, right? So we got two. They got strength. We got two star cards. And lastly, speaking of healing, from the angel therapy card to the masculine, be willing to forgive. You got these two cards about forgiveness, strength, and now this one. Ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. Of course, strength also being an 11 is a 2, could be about partnerships, can be about relationships. And this can definitely be about, again, it's some sort of soulmate or twin flame dynamic that maybe had challenges or difficulty in the past. And you can't hold on to what went wrong back then, especially if you're being pushed, you're being guided, whatever it is, to revisit it and give it another chance. That's what you're guided to do. And I just picked that up here with this, with the water signs in particular. This travel, it may be metaphoric about visiting or revisiting a situation. It may be specifically a relationship. All right. And maybe you're hesitant to do it because of whatever didn't go right before, something that happened in the past. I'm just feeling that you need to let that go. So maybe water and air. Maybe that's why it's coming up this way. But I guess it could be water and anybody in this particular position. And for us, feminine, clear yourself. Ask the angels to release any toxic energies that you may have absorbed. Yes, letting stuff go from the past, again, just like the masculine, and moving forward toward new, with the new sun in Aquarius and the new moon in Aquarius this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed the general weekly reading. I will be back with the love reading and the moon reading. If you liked the video or felt that you learned something from it, please actually like the video by giving it a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do consider subscribing by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. And if you like anything from me, a reading, energy healing, merchandise, or to, chat with me or whatever on social media, all the information to do any and all of that will be in the description box below. Namaste.